Belfast in the 19th century was thriving after Sir William Ritchie brought shipbuilding from Scotland. The port attracted ships from all over the world, and a dockside community grew up to cater for this cosmopolitan mishmash of nationality and culture. The next leg of our trail begins here on the western bank of the Lagan, in the district known as Sailortown. Sailortown was a tightly packed enclave of streets between York Street and the water's edge. It is one of the oldest remaining parts of Belfast, where, in its heyday, 5,000 people packed into its small terraced streets. Local dockers and immigrant families settled here, while seeking work in the increasingly busy shipyards and docks. In the toughest of towns, Sailortown must have been the toughest streets in Belfast in all that time.
You would think so. You would think so. And probably people from all over the world living in there as well. You know, not just local residents, but sailors here coming and going all the time.
How significant were those 24 cobbled streets down through the years?
Well, I know a guy who is involved with Sinclair Seamen's Presbyterian Church, which is down there beside the Harbour Commissioners. And he used to live in the residential houses that aren't there anymore. But he told me that when he was a wee lad, he used to be told to shut the front door quick because the cattle were coming through, and people would herd cattle right the way down through those streets and onto ships to take them over to Scotland as well. So not only were people living there, but animals were
passing through too.
And famously, actually, Robert Burns's granddaughter and her daughter left Scotland and lived at Brome Street, just off York Street. And I have a letter written by Robert Burns Jr. from that address back to relatives in Scotland, because again, people are just coming and going all the time, and that's a real epicentre. You know, when you get off the boat there, of course, that's going to be a real hive of activity.
This was a hard life. The men worked on the docks or went to sea, while the women looked after families and found work in the linen mills. Hard work, humour and faith sustained the people of Sailortown through times of poverty and strife. At its heart, two small churches, St Joseph's and Sinclair Seamen's, remained the anchor to this community when time, like the sea that surrounded them, became troubled, dark and uncertain. A place develops once a church is built.
Yeah,
I think a community is forged around it. How did it come to be?
Well, obviously Sailortown being by the river and the sea, it was the first urban village of Belfast. Obviously, it was very multicultural. You had Sailortown, you had Little Italy, the half-bap. So that was all quite a vibrant, tight community, very multicultural, mixed, not very affluent, most of it, but very vibrant.
What would have drawn people to Sailortown then, in the first instance?
It was quite a poor area, so it'd be work, the dockers. So men would have got work, but they wouldn't know every day if they were getting work. They would just need to go and see if they could.
You said there were 5,000 people who were in the Sailortown community, but that must have been doubled by the amount of people coming off the boats then, but you know, when Belfast developed into a port.
Absolutely. I mean, there's such a thoroughfare of people from like bananas to elephants coming through the streets. We've got photographs of all of that.
But there is an element of decline in the area now that's kind of visible when you look at the bars and whatever. When did that decline start to really gather momentum?
Well, basically, I think when everyone left and all the houses were destroyed, you know.
Well, what triggered that?
Well, they had to, because they were building the motorway right through the area. So it was a complete community. District just destroyed. So it was.
I've just spoken to Maeve O'Connor, who heads up the regeneration of St Joseph's. I've been walking past this place for years, always wanting to get inside. And once you're inside, it really doesn't disappoint. Even though the community has changed here, there's one thing for certain: the sense of community in Sailortown is still as strong as it ever was.
Spire's quite a poignant part of it because the sailors would say it was the last thing they seen leaving Sailortown and the first thing they seen coming back, so they knew they were on their way back.